I hear him. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
Hey, what's up with it, family? It's Hot Boxing Minute, your favorite pharmaceutical engineer turned boxing analyst, back at you with the realness, of course, as only I can bring it. The topic of the day, first and foremost, I want to talk about this pay-per-view. Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios. They just announced the price tag for that pay-per-view was going to be $74.99 plus tax. Now, look, I'm trying to pull it up right now. I'm a big fan of Keith Thurman. Obviously, he was the man, Mr. PBC himself. And then there's Mario Barrios. But the idea of $74.99, that price point is just something I can't even mentally comprehend. Look, I paid for the Tank Davis fight against Isaac Cruz, even though I was kind of like, hey, I don't really want to pay for this. I paid for the Charles Martin versus Luis Ortiz fight, and good Lord, come on, man. Was that even worthy of a pay-per-view? And I'm not dissing, but I am dissing. But it's supposed to be a poor man's sport, if I'm not mistaken. Boxing is supposed to be a poor man's sport. And yet PBC is constantly taxing for these pay-per-views. Now, let me read off the list of who's fighting on this card. First things first. Okay, so in this fight card coming up, we've got Keith One-Time Thurman fighting Mario Barrios. We've also got Leo Santa Cruz versus Keenan Carbajal. And we've got Abel Ramos versus Josecito Lopez, a.k.a. Riverside Rocky. Throw in Luis Pantera Neri versus Carlos Castro. And still, is that worth the $75 plus tax pay-per-view price tag? That's so cutthroat. I mean, I'm a fiend, so I'm likely going to pay for it. But damn, where is the sense in that? You got DAZN offering that small monthly fee and giving you fights damn near every single weekend. A lot of it is from across the pond, but if you're a fight fiend like myself, I'm pretty satisfied with what I'm getting from DAZN. PBC, what happened to the boxing free for all model? I don't really even know. I think about Keith Thurman when he fought Danny Garcia or when he fought Sean Porter. I remember those fights being free, and now they want to tax crazy money for every single PBC fight. How does that even make sense financially? They didn't release the numbers for the Tank Davis fight. They didn't release the numbers for the King Kong Luis Ortiz fight. Now, you can reach into that or speculate what you think that might have meant, but usually that is a fairly good indicator of what? Of what? Of the fact that sales weren't too good on that pay-per-view. Let's just keep it a whole bean. It looks like nobody really wanted to pay for those fights. And is it really a sustainable business model going forward to keep constantly paying or charging customers who want to see these fighters, who want to support these fighters? Look, y'all, I buy the merch. I buy the gear. I go to the fights when I can. I pay for the pay-per-views because I don't believe in stealing pay-per-views. That's not really my thing. But damn, it's hard. I couldn't imagine folks out there who don't have a business license to make boxing content like I do. My expenditures, the shirt, the memorabilia, the tickets for the fights, all that stuff is all tax deductible write-offs for me. But not everybody that's a boxing fan is working with those same angles. I highly suggest you do, though, folks. Whatever you're passionate about in life, get you a business license, get you an LLC, so at the very least, your expenditures are tax write-offs. Anyways, I don't want to lose y'all. I just wanted to vent about that $74.99 price tag because when you're looking at the comment sections online, everybody's talking about it. But let's switch subjects. By the way, let me know how you feel about that $74.99 price tag. Is it worth it? Are we getting gypped as boxing fans? Do we deserve better? The next news hitting that wire is the Oscar Valdez fight versus Shakur Stevenson. It looks like it's this close to being finalized. What an awesome fight. 2022 is gearing up to be yet another awesome year for boxing fans. We had a great 2021. Actually, it started great. Then the middle kind of got canceled with a lot of COVIDs and injuries and stuff. And the end of the year was ridiculous. We were getting smashed with fights. We're starting off this year on a hot one. We had the Joe Smith Jr. fight last weekend. This upcoming weekend, we've got Gary Russell Jr. in his comeback fight against Mark Magsayo. And then we've got fights every successive weekend essentially going out for the next foreseeable forecast up through April. Anyways, Mike Coppinger, Benson, all the more reputable lines of information are basically saying that they're going to have the Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson fight, and they're this close. And who doesn't want to see Oscar Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson? What an interesting matchup of styles. You got Shakur Stevenson, who is probably the most defensively sound fighter in the game right now. If I'm not mistaken, on the scoring cards, he hasn't lost a round in about 45 rounds, which is kind of immense. And then you've got Oscar Valdez, all heart, crazy knockout of the year over Miguel Berchelt. Oscar Valdez has been discounted in the past, and the way everyone's talking about him in this fight with Shakur Stevenson is pretty much the same way they were being dismissive of him against Miguel Berchelt. I don't really know what to say about that. Now, you've got Shakur Stevenson, defensively sound. The man has clearly got a high ring IQ and hasn't lost a round of boxing in something like 45 rounds. And then Oscar Valdez, the man who fought Scott Quigg through a broken jaw out there across the pond and still won that fight. So we know that Oscar Valdez isn't going to be stopped. Shakur Stevenson isn't exactly the most heavy-handed puncher. And we know that Oscar Valdez definitely has stopping power. Will Oscar Valdez's heart and skill set and the new tools that he's picked up training with Eddie Reynoso going to help him against Shakur Stevenson, who is just looking very impressive at this point in his career? We've got two division champions going heads up. This is good for boxing. Now, what do y'all think is going to be the result of the Shakur Stevenson-Oscar Valdez fight? A lot of people are thinking it's going to be a wash. They're thinking Shakur Stevenson is going to beat him for 12 rounds. I've been following Oscar Valdez for years. I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think it's going to be a 12-round wash, but I do understand the concerns because Oscar Valdez didn't look very impressive in that most recent fight with Conceição. I'll give it that. I don't agree with everyone declaring that that fight was a robbery, but Conceição was giving him the business for sure in the early half of that fight before he decided to fall off the face of the earth and start dancing around the ring. I don't really know who does that, but if you're going to fight a fighter in his hometown, in front of his own people, you better beat him definitively. And unfortunately, I didn't see that as a definitive win for Robson Conceição. Successful title defense for Oscar Valdez. It is what it is. Now, let me know what y'all think about that Shakur Stevenson-Oscar Valdez fight in the comments section. Hit like if you haven't already done so. Are you following? Y'all better be pressing follow. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok or on Twitter. I've got the same handle, Hot Boxing Minute. You know what time it is, folks. The future of this social media, YouTube boxing analysis stuff, it belongs to me. Hop on before it's too late.